Thanks for joining us on our comic book coffee break. I'm Nick Gunning.
I'm Eric Mickles. Note online is Dust vs. Tweak. 4 weeks sober of Coca-Cola.
Soda sober.
Soda sober.
Good for you.
Yeah. They should make
Good for you.
Yeah. That's a brand right there. Do you see everybody's upset? Coca-Cola donated a whole bunch of trucks of Dasani water, and the people are like, oh, Dasani?
No, I didn't see that.
To Texas. They donated like 18 trucks.
Water.
Yeah, they donated 18 trucks of water, but everybody on Twitter's like, yeah, but it's Dasani.
Why is that a thing? I don't mind Dasani water.
I don't know. Everybody acts like they can tell the difference in water.
No, I would take Dasani over. What's the Pepsi equivalent?
Aquafina?
What's the Aquafina? I don't like. Yeah,
but
I'm not about Aquafina.
The actress, is very funny.
She is. That's true. She is funny. She is funny.
I've got water. Nick's drinking.
I'm drinking a regular house blend from Dunkin', and I've got it in a travel mug today.
Nice.
A silver metallic travel mug. Eric, did you know this show's brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network?
I've heard, and you can find more about this show and others like it at our network's website, radiomeanwhile.com.
That's right. Other shows on the network include... No, we don't do that anymore. But I'm on 902 and Here We Go. If there's any 90210 fans in the crowd, show of hands. 90210 fans in the crowd, show of hands. I see you. I see you there. Thank you. I see you there.
Sorry, I thought you were pointing at my guinea pig.
No, I was just... That's a thing like in church where they're like, does anybody need... And then the pastor pretends like people are standing up and stuff. You've experienced this. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
I see those hands. I see those prayers.
Exactly.
I lift those prayers up. Yeah, I see that hand. Wonderful.
Thank you for sharing.
Keep that hand up. Yeah. Keep your eyes closed, but keep the hands up.
Thank you. No one else look and check because I'm seeing the hands and you don't need to see them, but I do see them and you're all there. So
anyway,
I was doing that.
Does that have something to do with the comic book you read today? Because let's talk comics.
No, but let's talk comics. Yeah, that's a good idea. I read a lot this week, buddy. How are you? Was this a full week for you? Was this a small week for you? Okay.
I don't have small weeks. I just have thoughtful weeks.
Small hands. Oh,
no.
Okay. I read a little bit more of Firestorm. That's where I'm going to start today. I read more of this uncollected Firestorm run.
Firestorm.
I read issues 9 through 16. Mm-hmm. There's a soft reboot in the middle here. I want to say it's issue 14. And it very, like the front of it says number 1, but when you look closer, it's like the number 1 nuclear-powered superhero. So like they're trying to get people to think it's an issue 1, but it's right in the middle. And it's kind of disappointing. I liked what was happening before with him merging with randos and stuff. This is like post-identity crisis. Ronnie Raymond is like back for a while, and it's like Ronnie Raymond is being the Martin Stein. He's being like the guy in Firestorm's head is what's happening. And then we kind of settle into he just has like a roommate and is living his life. It's way less interesting than it started. I am going to see it through.
How many issues is it, right?
About 35.
Okay. 2?
So I'm like right at the midpoint here. Yeah. And then there's like the 1 year later stuff. That's what's collected. Like the 1 year later. DC had that whole thing. Mm-hmm. The 1 year later Firestorm stuff is the only like trade paperback of this. But it's all on the app, baby.
All right.
I read that.
What's the author? Is the artist? Oh, Igley.
Dan Jolly?
No, I saw a name. I thought it said Isley, and I was like, Isley on Firestorm.
Ooh.
Did I read anything akin to Firestorm?
I don't know. Probably not. I mean, Lucifer. There's fire involved, right?
Yeah, I read Lucifer Volume 3.
Okay. Sorry. So this is like the original run that you're reading.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Okay.
From 2000 to 2006. 75 issues via Vertigo. All written by Mike Carey. Right. And, like, is the spin-off of Sandman. So, gosh, I mean, what happens in this? There's some, I guess Lucifer had to have a fight, but his wings weren't, somebody had the pin feathers of his wings and were using them for evil, so he had to send his assistant / maybe lover, Mackenzie, to get those wings, those pin feathers, and then they all go on a journey on a flying ship to maybe the end of existence and to get a ghost girl.
You had me a lover. I was right there.
It's just a lot of different like dark fantasy stuff. That's what I mean. That's what the book is. It's just very dark fantasy. It's not really like urban fantasy. It's funny because like in Sandman at the beginning, like Lucifer has this bar called Lux, like a piano bar and everything. But as it goes on, like after like the third issue, there's just like, all right, now it's always taking place in some kind of fantasy world and not really Earth. So I guess I thought it was going to be more like him interacting on Earth, but it's a lot less that. He's got higher schemes in this book. So,
okay.
Yahweh has left the cosmos, as far as I understand it.
Okay, that doesn't seem scriptural. But
Nietzsche would say it happened a long time ago.
Huh. Okay.
So just a lot of dealings between all these dark, fantastical characters.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Not everybody's
Are you
jam.
liking it?
Yeah.
You liking it? You having a good time?
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna watch the show. I watched the trailer for the new season coming to Netflix, and I was just like, whoa, this doesn't look good. Not that it looks, I don't know, it just looks bad.
Not doing it for you. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
I've seen some people complain that in the show he's very whiny and always complaining and has, like, whereas in the book he's very, like, forward and he's just, like, out to get things done. So
okay.
I might not
All right.
pick up the show. Anyway, I've got 2 more big volumes of this left.
Get it.
I guess they rebooted it under that, like, Vertigo Dark or whatever they called it, but then that was canceled, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Or it isn't canceled? It's still going?
I don't know.
Right.
I remember there being a reboot, but that's not a series I've ever followed, so I don't really know.
Well, it was with Sandman and Hellblazer and something else, I thought. Like, they were doing, like, the Sandman nighttime. I don't even remember. We were there when they were telling the librarians in Seattle.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Everything they said there didn't stick, though. Like, everything.
That's true, yeah.
It was like they had all these announcements, and they got back, and they were like, yeah, we're scrapping all that, so.
Yeah. Well, I got a Batman figure out of it.
Okay.
I knew.
Well, speaking of failed DC offshoots, let's talk Milestone Comics. It's finally like making a comeback here, and DC has been slowly doling out the Milestone stuff, and I don't get
Dolomite.
Because there's all this talk about rebooting this brand and stuff, but like I've been wanting to read the original Static run forever, and it's one collection of it. It hasn't been available digitally, but they've been putting out an issue a week, and I don't understand that because the series are from like the 90s. So why aren't you at least doing like drops? I had to wait like a month for there to be enough for me to read like one story arc, and I just don't get it. So Icon has been dropping, Static has been dropping, and finally there's 4 issues of all the major Milestone comics. So I read the first volume of Static. It's put out in a trade as Static Shock Trial by Fire, and the imagery is a lot of like the Static that you see in the cartoon, and that's not at all what he looks like in the early days here. It's more just like a black jumpsuit and a baseball cap. But I think it really worked. You know, I read the one collection of Dwayne McDuffie stuff that had been out there. It was on the app, The Rebirth of Cool, a while ago, and I liked that, but that was kind of like, I think that was also a failed reboot of that series because there was also a New 52 run that didn't last very long. And I liked all of that. I'd been wanting to read this. So finally, these first 4 are out. And it is pretty cool. A lot of the reviews I see compare it to Spider-Man. And I do see that. You know, there's a lot of parallels there. But I think Static really just stands on his own, and it's a cool book. You know, it drops you right in with him being established as Static, and within the 4 issues, somebody else discovers that Virgil is in fact Static, and so they use that as a lens of him telling this person how he became Static. That's how you see an origin, which I really like because it's not bogged down heavily with origin stuff. You're just like in it with him established, and then the gaps are kind of filled in. So it's a cool start to the series. I would have read more if it was available, but as of our recording today, only 4 issues are on the app. So I don't know what the heck they're doing, but I'm probably going to read Icon and some of the other stuff too, because I just totally missed this stuff the first time around. So I'm just discovering it now.
Did you like the story of Justice League Heroes, the game? Do you remember the story?
For PlayStation?
Yeah. I was just wondering. No, Dwayne McDuffie wrote it, so I was just.
Oh, okay.
I just was thinking about that.
The story left like no impact on me.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's frustrating about that game, though.
Huh?
You start with certain heroes. It's pretty limited. And as you go through the levels, you unlock more heroes. But those heroes come in at like the very base of their power.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you almost can't play as those heroes because you're in like, level 8 and you have like a level 1 character and he just gets mowed down.
X-Men Legends did that differently. A new character would come in with all the XP ready.
Yeah,
you could just level them up from the get-go.
You could spend the points as you wanted. No, it's not this way in Justice League Heroes, which I think was a real drawback because a lot of those heroes you were able to play as like for the first time, but it didn't really make sense to play as them. So kind of disappointing.
All right, so Static Shock. So, when is this reboot happening, or it is happening?
They're talking about doing like a bunch of digital exclusives. There's talk about like an HBO static movie that's supposed to come. There's all sorts of talk about doing stuff with the Milestone Comics, but DC's been really slow to roll them out. Like when the Infinite happened with the big rebrand of the DC Online portal, they had the whole Vertigo imprint up, not the whole thing, but they had like a good showing of that.
Right.
Milestone didn't even get its own heading.
Weird.
So
yeah, if they had done the Vertigo releasing like they did Milestone, that would be very annoying for when you got like 300 issues of Hellblazer.
Yeah, I just think like when they're talking about it, and I mean, even if you want to be topical, and I mean, it's February, it's Black History Month. I mean, that would have been a perfect time to do a big like, look at what DC has, But I don't know. I don't know why they're only putting it out one issue at a time, but that's where we are.
All right, I read 2 Batman comics.
Okay.
I read Batman. It was the Detective Comics that came after the Tinian run. So the first one was Brian Edward Hill. It was called On the Outside, so that collects whatever issues are in there, 982 to 986.
So informative. Okay.
Not great. I mean, they bring in Black Lightning into it, and because he needs them to like lead the team, but the team doesn't seem to really exist the way that the book makes us think it's supposed to. It feels like we're still supposed to have remnants of that whole Batman thing, but it's not, and he never really interacts with them. But the villain in this, what's the villain's name? It was so stupid. Karma?
Using Black Lightning. Okay. I was just going to say, using Black Lightning in that role is a fun throwback to Batman bringing him in to like lead the Outsiders in the 70s and stuff. So
yeah, there's a bit of the Outsiders reference, and because he's like a professor and everything. But the villain in this is called Karma, if I remember right from this very week. But the whole shtick is that Karma's like, your sidekicks make you weaker. So he's going to like kill the sidekicks to make Batman stronger. But that is 100% Joker's deal in Death of the Family.
Yes.
So it's, I don't know. Maybe Brian Edward Hill didn't read it.
I don't think that's how karma works either.
Yeah,
the concept of karma, I don't think that really.
Well, it's because Batman left him out in the desert or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's got like a helmet that gives him some mind powers, able to read minds, so he's able to guess what Batman's gonna do. But yeah, the whole shtick of like they make you weaker, that's a whole story that Scott Snyder did in like one of his best Batman. It's not even 10 years ago at this point. I guess we're getting on 10 years, but still.
That wasn't my jam, but I remember it well, and I would think most Batman readers would know that storyline, so it is strange to go back to that well.
I couldn't understand it. I then read Deface the Face, which is volume 9 of this. So it's the end of this Detective Comics before it gets rebooted. And so who's this? This is James Robinson coming in to write. And he wrote a really weird Batman who's like sometimes a jerk for no reason, and more so than normal. Like Gordon's like, we have to do this first, and Batman's like, do you really think you can stop me? I'm like, I don't know if Batman is really talking to Gordon the way you're.
Yeah, that's so
weird. And like him and Two-Face have this kind of like, hey, what would I do without you in my life kind of like villain hero relationship. Like, this is a Saturday morning cartoon where at the end they're like, it ends with him jumping to fight Two-Face, and Two-Face jumping to shoot at Batman, and they're like, I'm glad you're alive, me too. And it's just like, what is this relation?
That's weird. I don't get that.
A weird. I liked it because it had some fun Two-Face stuff in there.
Okay.
But the dialogue is just so weird. Like, like James Robinson has never read Batman speaking or Two-Face.
That's bizarre.
Also, Cobra's in it. You know what? I gave this 3 stars. I'm giving it 2. There we go. I'm correcting that.
It's happening.
Yeah, wow. Live on air. I can't. This was just so weird. The dialogue was so weird and off, and it did not feel accurate. I guess the art was fine, but I don't know. I enjoy Two-Face comics because I guess I just enjoy Two-Face as a villain. But this one, yeah, it's just so weird. It's just this weird, like, you almost feel like it's going to be me and my shadow. They're going to be singing Me and My Shadow at the end. Yeah. Take it from the beginning? No, the ending!
That's cute.
Yeah.
That sounds fun. Let's see. What else do I got on my list here? I'm still reading through Flash and Aquaman. I'm staying true to that. So let's talk Flash. Let's talk Flash Volume 9, Reckoning of the Forces. Bear with me, because I've been complaining about how there's 500 Flash characters in these, including 2 Wally Wests who go by Kid Flash. 8 kind of wrapped that up, and now I was kind of like, where is everybody? Like, just Barry, like, hanging around. Okay. This gets away from them real fast here. It's called Reckoning of the Forces, and Barry, I don't know. Like, he and Wally in the, like, OG Wally, okay, in the past did something to screw up the Speed Force, and in doing so, they unleashed other forces. So there's the Sage Force, which I don't know what that means. And then there's the Strength Force. And so Flash calls like a council of Flashes. They come together, and everybody's like, oh yeah, the other forces. And he's like, what? And so the Strength Force is like turning everybody into Hulks. And so like the Trickster and Flash sort of become like Hulk type characters.
So is the Sage Force supposed to be like wisdom/mind?
Yes.
Okay, so he's basically discovered there's a Triforce of forces. He's discovered the Triforce.
It's just like, given all the time they spent on this whole like Wally's from the New 52 crap, it's like, why they're throwing us in one volume that now suddenly there are 3 different forces that they're not really going to mine.
It sounds like
what are you doing?
It sounds like they're trying to do to the Speed Force what Jeff Johns did to the Green Lantern.
Yeah, you're right.
Rings.
That's a good comparison. Well, it's not working. I can tell you that.
How is speed equal to mind and strength? I
guess
guess if you're playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
So I found the Constitution Force. I found the Charisma Force.
Also, the end of Volume 8, I guess this is a spoiler. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but at the end of Volume 8, Bart Allen shows up. Like, Impulse shows up.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
And I did. Okay. Not a part of Volume 9. So I don't get it. But all it's made me want to do is go back and read that 90s Impulse run. Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's what it's making you want to do?
It is. I read one collected volume of that. I think that's it. But now I was like, I should go and just read that. This is the thing that I like about you, my friend. You have this like drive to go back and just find a run and just read every single thing. And I haven't really done that. I guess I'm kind of doing that with Captain America.
I was about to say you're doing that with the Flashpoint. I mean, not Flashpoint, Firestorm.
Yeah, but that's short. I mean, that's like 30 issues.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
But like to really go for it, that's something you would do. And now I feel like maybe I should do that with Impulse. How do you feel about that?
Every single issue Impulse has ever been in.
Yeah.
It's a weird character, but go for it, you know?
I just feel like, maybe that's the way to do it.
You'd like it. He'd run into Tim Drake a lot.
True.
So that'd be fun.
So listen, I mean, I rated this Flash 3 stars, but it was real kind of a head scratcher. It was like, what are you doing here? But this is a long run. I mean, that was, what is this, Volume 9, I said, right? there's like 5 or 6 trades past this. This series just like will not stop.
Yeah.
So,
the blue flashes and the indigo
Godspeed.
flashes, the red.
Yeah.
So straight. I mean, yeah. If this doesn't go that there is like an evil Flash Force, it's gonna be disappointing.
There should be an evil Flash Force, like in Quantum Leap when Sam would occasionally run into the evil Leapers. It would be interesting if there were like multiple aspects to the Speed Force, like the way, if one was more like moving through like pocket universes or something, and it was all about like different ways to like do that could be kind of interesting. But to just be like, this one makes you strong, this one makes you smart, it's like, what? So, man, am I gonna have to retroactively make this a 2-star?
Oh dang!
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm gonna keep my cool. I'm gonna keep my cool. All right, go ahead.
Hey,
what else you got?
You made me have some self-realization about Batman.
Okay.
Recently, because it's the way you talk about Spider-Man, about how you're like, oh, I'm in a sad mood, I'll read some Spider-Man. Like, no matter what mood you're in, Spider-Man's gonna pick you up.
Yep.
And I realized like that's not X-Men for me. Because like a lot of times it's like, all right, I'm gonna read X-Men, but it's also usually depressing. I don't usually feel like I'm in a great mood after reading X-Men. So it's usually Batman, I realized, for me. That like Batman is my comfort food comic book stuff. I can just read a Batman at any time. I don't need to know the continuity or anything. Anyway, your Spider-Man.
You bringing up? Yes.
What? Me bringing up Spider-Man?
Yeah, so like we did a podcast together for 300 episodes called The All the Book Show, and I still sort of have that in my podcast rotation, the ones that I hadn't like heard. So I just got to our 3-part Spider-Man episode, and I just listened to our takedown on Spider-Man comics. I think it holds up. I think it's a strong episode. It was really interesting. You can find it at soundcloud.com/allthebooks. But we did that Spider-Man trilogy of episodes that I really liked. And so it just reminded me of that.
Well, that's a not great segue. I read Psi-Lords by Fred Van Lente.
Oh, okay. And?
I did not like it.
Oh,
I honestly could not finish this thing. It's 8 issues. This was not my jam at all.
Darn.
And you know what? The cover art on the trade kind of has this cool, almost like original Image Comics kind of look. The original, like it has like a 90s vibe. You get into the comic, it's not that look at all.
Well, that's Psi-Lords is a reboot of a 90s.
Yeah.
Property. 90s?
I did not like the characters. I didn't like the way they interacted or talked.
All right.
Or it also felt like sometimes things were moving too fast, but also not fast enough. I don't know. Like the characters were moving too fast, but the plot was moving too slow. You know what I mean? Like the characters just jump to like, we're a team, we gotta do this, all this stuff, but the plot is just like, how are we still here in issue 5? By the end, I was just skimming like, where does this go? I don't. So.
Oh, that's too bad. This was so for the All the Book Show, Eric and I interviewed Fred Van Lente specifically about Spider-Man, but we got into other things, and he was currently working on Psi-Lords when we did this, and so he sent me not even like an advanced proof. He sent me the file that they were like actively working on, which was it was fascinating to have a peek in there because the dialogue would be there, as sort of placeholders, and you'd see notes on the side like, is this clear enough, or can we change this? So it's really cool to see that. And that first issue is all that I ever read, where they're like, they kind of wake up in a prison and they don't know where they are or what's going on. Am I remembering that right?
Yep.
I really liked that first volume. I thought that take-in was or that the way in was really interesting. Did you like the first issue, or is that not good either?
It was fine. I don't know. I guess I just wanted something different than it's just weird, but not fun. I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't for me, other than I found it boring.
That's too bad.
I don't know if
you know
would
what
like
that
more.
reminds me.
I think it's kind of relatively new. It's 8 issues total. I don't think there's any more to the series.
Okay. All right. This is reminding me of something that I didn't say about Static that I wanted to bring up, and that is there were really odd editorial things going on in these issues. where, you know, it was regular, the dialogue and everything was regular, like comic book script. And occasionally one of the, like a word bubble would be like computer typed words. And so I couldn't tell if they were like, I couldn't tell why that would be, because sometimes it would just be like one or two words were typed and the rest of it would be in the script. So I don't know if they're like editing it or censoring it. I don't know.
There were like one or two pages in this that looked like the composite, like it looked like it had been stretched beyond like the normal, like they took a small file of the art and made it big on the page, and it was all blurry and decompressed, and it didn't look great. But I couldn't tell if that was supposed to be an effect that the art was doing, or if that was just the thing and it was just a printer problem. So that wasn't great either.
I just couldn't figure out if they were actually like, if there were things about the books that they were trying to change. And that's what it looked like, but it also could be like one of them sort of seemed like it was doing that thing where, like, you know, if you have like a Project Gutenberg type book where they take an old book and scan it and put it into text, some of the places kind of look like that, because you'd have like a letter in the original font and then you'd have like kind of an awkward. So I don't know if there's some problem like transferring it to digital, or if they are making changes. I was confused by that, and I hadn't heard anything about it. So,
yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that Psi-Lords was not good.
It's fine. It doesn't have a great track on Goodreads either.
Okay.
So
I did like talking to Fred Van Lent.
Yeah, he was fun.
And I thought the interview you did with him for X-Men was also pretty fun.
Yeah, Psi-Lords, just not for me.
No, not for you. Not for you. That was when I was first introduced to the character of Shang-Chi, actually, in his Wolverine First Class.
Yeah, that's so. Who's getting his own movie? Were you gonna go to Aquaman next?
Sure.
Because you said Flash and Aquaman.
Yeah, let's do it. Aquaman. So, what I read, the major run of Aquaman kind of ended, and then there were two crossovers. There was the Suicide Squad one, and then there was a Justice League Scott Snyder one, which I was not a fan of. That one ends with something happening where Aquaman, they think he's gone, they don't know where he is, and he washes up on shore in some, like, I couldn't really tell if it was like a dimensional kind of thing, or if he was just meant to be on some like weird island somewhere. It feels like he's in a different world. Volume 1, like the numbering of the actual issues continue, but this is a new volume 1 called Unspoken Water. It's by Kelly Sue DeConnick, and she's probably most famous for that Captain Marvel run that she did, kind of rebooting.
Okay, I was like, what have I read? But I haven't read that.
Yeah. This is her first DC thing.
Oh, really?
And I liked it. It was interesting. Aquaman has amnesia. He's in this place, whether it's our world or another world, and there's mystical things happening, and you get a little bit of Mira like back in Atlantis, but it's mostly just Aquaman, people not knowing who he is, and him just sort of eking out an existence in this weird world that's just kind of off. So
that's fun.
You know, I mean, I've been complaining about how every Aquaman story is just like a battle for the throne that I'm tired of, so I guess I shouldn't complain.
Yeah, just shut up and read it.
I mean, I am interested. Yeah. You know, I have volume 2 locked and loaded. So it's a decent reboot, I guess, of what's going on.
So Kelly Sue DeConnick actually wrote issues 65 through 67. So that's like a few issues of Supergirl.
Oh, okay.
Volume 5, whichever one that is.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks like in terms of like having an actual run, you're right, that like it was just like an issue here or issue there. That's interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes out. Like I said, I have volume 2 all ready to go.
Well, I hope you enjoy it so that you can be happy about Aquaman again.
Me too.
Yeah. What if he gets there and finds out there's a throne in this world? He's like, well, I gotta get this throne, don't I?
Yeah, his instincts take over.
It's a throne. I got it. Yeah, he starts marking his territory.
He has to battle for it, period. There's no question.
I read volume 30 of Usagi Yojimbo.
Okay.
Thieves and Spies by Stan Sakai.
Okay.
So that's 145 to 151. So there's a character in here who she's a thief and she's always causing trouble for Usagi, and then she's always getting out of it kind of scot-free. And I think there's a part of me that wants to see her get her comeuppance, but also she's a likable character, so I don't, and I guess that's the trick. But sometimes she just like she steals from Usagi and then they laugh. I'm like, Usagi just saved your life. Usagi has to team up with a like a ninja clan to stop this black market ginseng trade.
Okay.
And that's how it all. He gets kissed by both of them at the end, and he's got this big dopey look on his face. It's very funny.
Okay.
He meets a samurai who only has one arm and has
Samurai Amurai.
No, that's 30 Rock. Okay, sorry. But and then there's like a duel against the guy that cut off his arm, and that was fun. I don't know, just some good times in this volume 30. So I think so this was Dark Horse. I think it only goes. I think it's 33 volumes with Dark Horse, and then it goes over to, what do we say? IDW is the one that took it. So yeah, 33. So I've got 3 more volumes of this, and then I hope I can find the IDW. I think there's only 1 volume out.
Okay.
So, yeah, like I said, this is a series that I could just see myself going back to the beginning.
Okay.
So good. If I ever did like a, I don't know, like a samurai fantasy adventure, Usagi just would be the thing you steal from.
It's in your blood.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish I knew the best way to own it all. Like, if I have kids, I want them to read Usagi.
And so are there big omnibuses for this?
I can't remember. Yeah. And
okay.
I don't think they're colorizing them, so.
Do it.
They're so expensive. All right.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's the best way to read them. Sometimes I see omnibuses and I'm like, oof, you just imagine all those pages falling out. All right, what else do you read?
True. This is the last thing I read for DC. I read Lois Lane and the Friendship Challenge by Grace Ellis. This is I wouldn't even say young adult. I would say like a little bit younger than that level graphic novel about Lois Lane. Kind of like, as I've said with a lot of these, it doesn't what's frustrating about these is when they don't at all feel like the character and you can't really see the progression. I wouldn't go so far with this one. I feel like you can see a little bit of at least like the Lois Lane determination. Like, she starts out wanting to keep her friend from moving away, which I can relate to that. And then she kind of gets involved in this mystery, and there's a reporter who's going after it. She doesn't really care about the reporter, but she's interested in the mystery. And then it kind of like takes her to a place where she is interested in the mystery and wants to like find the truth. And so you kind of see, you can see like a little germ sprouting of her being interested in like reportering. It's cute. Like, the art is good. I think a kid would like it. You certainly wouldn't have to be a superhero fan, but I don't think it's as good as something like Primer, which is kind of an original story within the DC universe. I feel like something like that works a little bit better, but this was cute. So, I think if you're a Superman fan who has kids who you want to get them into Superman, this might be a good way to be like, look, here's one of the characters. Hey, speaking of Superman,
the Scott Snyder, can't they watch the Zack Snyder Justice League?
No. All right. They can't. They shouldn't.
All right.
Are you gonna watch Superman and Lois? Or are you not gonna?
I'm gonna
like watch it this week.
Yeah, I have to watch it the day after.
Yes. Okay. So we should talk about it next week, because I'm a little excited about it because I really like his Superman. I'm not wild about the Lois casting. I'm just gonna put that right out there. But I really like his Superman, so I'm interested to see.
Why don't we like? I haven't even really paid attention.
I don't really understand. I don't really understand the vibe. She's also significantly older than him. I feel like that kind of like their chemistry is kind of odd. I feel like because of that. So I don't know. I have an open mind. I'm going to give it a shot. But my initial impressions of her. She's from Sleepy Hollow. My initial impressions are just kind of like, that's an odd choice. So I don't know.
She's from Sleepy Hollow? You mean Grimm?
Do I mean Grimm?
Yeah, I don't see her at
all right.
Sleepy Hollow.
Then sure, I mean Grimm. Why not?
How dare you confuse those two?
Sorry.
I don't know if there's werewolves in Sleepy Hollow. I only watched I
don't either.
2 episodes. So, that's funny. I haven't paid attention to any of it. I asked you if you thought I needed to, pay attention to, because I'm not caught up. That's it.
I get the impression that it doesn't matter so much. I mean, Superman and Lois have played more prominent roles, I think, in the crossovers than like in the story of Supergirl. And you've met Superman in Supergirl, right? You've gotten that far to see him. So you got the gist. But like a lot of the, like Morgan Edge played a pretty significant role in Supergirl, and I really liked that casting. It was Adrian Pasdar, like from Heroes or other things that are better than Heroes. They've recast Morgan Edge. I think they've recast General Lane. So in some ways, it feels like they're kind of pulling away from what's established in the Arrowverse, but I don't know. But it's a lot about their kids and stuff, and like you don't really see any of that in the Arrowverse. So I think you're probably fine to watch it.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Speaking of Superman in the CW verse, I finished season 3 of Supergirl.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't realize this, but somewhere near the end or somewhere during this season, it went on like hiatus to production orders. And then you could tell where it comes back because suddenly they're like, "Oh, hey, the Legion, we have to go back. We have to leave." And the Rain and her two like mooks that are there to help her, like, "Oh no, actually, we're all gonna combine into one with all our powers. Bye. We were the Rain trio." Yeah. And then they're like, "Oh, hey, Argo is still up there too." All of a sudden, so there's that. And it just, all of a sudden, like, all the things they were doing in season 3 aren't happening.
I know.
And then, like, Supergirl goes to Argo, and it's like the first, she finds out her mother is alive.
I know.
Her city is alive, and she gets there, and she's like, we're looking for this stuff, and my planet's the Earth is in danger. I'm like, you just thought, like, the acting is so... Yeah. And then... Even when the next episode when she goes back to Argo to like see her family, she's like spending time just going to restaurants, and the restaurant feels very much like an Earth restaurant. It's just everybody's wearing togas is the difference between Argo and Earth.
Look, you don't have to convince me. I'm a diehard Supergirl fan, and I think the show sucks.
I don't think it sucks. I just think season 3 went off. I don't know. It got weird. And I think the problem is season 2 I thought was so much fun, and because it just had a whole bunch of different ideas and different characters is when changing some stuff in, and it just went big and goofy. I mean, it had Linda Carter as the president. And all that stuff, and you had Terry Hatcher as like the mustache twirling villain. So there's like a lot of stuff in Supergirl season 2, but in 3, I mean, there's literally a scene of Rain and the other like world killer just screaming at each other in like this dark fantasy realm. They're just like, "Ah!" And I'm just like, is this show a little different than other shows?
But in the place where it's the same, I feel like all of the Arrowverse shows eventually suffer from Fantastic Four syndrome, where like there is nothing to do with these character dynamics anymore.
Well, the Martian Manhunter and his dad stuff really got me. In season 3, and I don't usually care about like dad stuff. Like usually, if like there's usually if a dad is like, "I have to go now, son," I'm like, "Bye." But with this one, it really got me because the guy who plays Martian Manhunter crying that his dad is leaving after he just got him back, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't watch him. I'm like, if you're crying, I'm gonna cry. And that's I might get the name wrong. Carl Lumley from as Martian Manhunter's dad, who he was the voice of Martian Manhunter on Justice League. So that was fun. The problem too is that Mon-El comes back in season 3, but they don't do anything with it. And also, he's not in season 2. He was fun because he was either a jerk or then he was kind of goofy, and he had that fish out of water stuff. And this one is just like, okay, now play it somber and depressing and never have. There's a moment where he goes undercover as Mike, where he's got like glasses and he walks in. In a car where people are kidnapping this other girl. He's like, are you kidnapping her? Well, that is highly illegal. I am not okay. And it's like funny, and you're like, oh right, Chris Wood is funny when he gets to be like this. Never. And also,
it's the same with Stephen Amell. They never let Stephen Amell be fun or funny in Arrow, and he's like hilarious. It's the same kind of thing.
Well, but also at the beginning when he comes back, he's like married to Irma. of the Legion, and it's
Exactly.
kind of like
Yeah.
it seems like they have like a good marriage, and he's just,
Yeah.
and it's sad for Supergirl. But then suddenly it's revealed that he doesn't have a good marriage; that it was a marriage
Right.
of like politics, and suddenly it's just like, well, that is less of an interesting story, and now it just kind of makes both characters not look great. I don't know. It just makes everyone look bad. It was so much more interesting when Chris Woods, where Mon-El looked like he had moved on because he had been gone for 7 years, and now Supergirl was dealing with this time thing. But as soon as they were just like, oh, I'm not in a great marriage and I do miss Kara, I'm like, bored. Anyway, it ended like it just wanted to end. They're like, please just let season 3 end. We're sorry.
Yep.
Anyway.
If I had to delete one character, it would be Alex. I don't think that character suits the show well. Are you pro Alex? Do you like her?
Am I pro Alex? I like Alex.
Well, you know, I mean, I just think like her. I don't know. Her like deep love for the Martian Manhunter and like her and Kara's relationship. I don't know. I feel like it bogs the show down in a way that is not particularly helpful.
Well,
and I really like that actress. Like she was on Grey's Anatomy, and I love her. So it's not her. I think it's just the way that character is written. Just I don't know. I think it throws the show off balance because, especially like it goes on, it almost seems like she's the main character. Like she sort of becomes more of a primary focus because of the way she's connected to all the other characters, and it just. Right. I never understand why you do something like Supergirl. Everything about Supergirl in the comics is that she's like solo and alone. So to have something where she's like beholden and like, you know, subordinate to like every other character on the show, to me, just never really makes for a good story. But
well, it was a weird season, but it got me. It got me a little bit. It's definitely not as good as season 2.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll be interested to hear. I really like Dreamer and Brainy. Like Dreamer and Brainy come in, but Sam Witwer, I just can't stand.
Who's
and
Sam
so
Witwer?
he played Davis, Doomsday, in Smallville.
Okay.
He's a main villain for either season 4 or 5. I can't remember. I just can't. I can't with that guy. He drives me insane.
Somebody pointed out it must be a budget issue. They're like, if you can have Worf and all these Star Trek characters in full makeup every episode for 300 episodes, you can have Brainiac 5 in his Brainiac 5 makeup for the 5 minutes he's in the show each time. It must just be like they don't have the budget to put these characters in makeup all the time.
I don't understand what they're doing with Martian Manhunter either. Martian Manhunter is like almost the most powerful character in DC Comics, but most of the time he's like, all right, I'm going to send in Kara and I'm going to chill here in my apartment. Like, what are you doing? You're the Martian Manhunter. It's funny. Maybe you go help.
Like when they're unconscious, like sometimes they transform. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like they're just weak. They're in their human form when it doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I don't understand it at all. Maybe it is budgetary, but yeah, I can't imagine this has a smaller budget than Next Gen.
Yeah, but that's the way it seems like with every type of those shows. Like, oh, quick, put him in the. But then if Paul Bettany can be in that full Vision makeup in an ice cream truck, you can get your skin lightly blue and have little dots on your head to be Brainiac 5.
Yeah.
Mofo.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Wow, that was a lot. That was a lot.
Quick thing about of WandaVision 2 is now that we're in the 2010s, I imagine, it's the Modern Family-esque, and I have less affection for that. And also, I feel like Paul Bettany zones in on that well in the whole he has this whole like I'm not amused scene. He does those like to the camera moments very well. I feel like it's actually this is the first time where Elizabeth Olsen is not at like a strength in that. But it might just because Wanda at this point is also not in a great place.
I could really see her channeling Julie Bowen from Modern Family, and I had to give it to her for that. But yeah, I do agree that Paul Bettany was the standout in this last episode. I loved how the intro for this version of it was kind of The Office, kind of happy endings.
Yeah, it was very happy endings. Yeah, with the whole like it had the Office kind of music, but the happy endings. Title sequence.
But then you end with the Modern Family like logo, basically. I thought that was cool. I thought that was well done.
Yeah. But yeah, this is definitely one of the moments where I'm like, I know everybody probably loves Wanda just because we all love whoever, because if you're the lead, then that makes you the hero. But when she's like talking to her kids, I'm like, maybe we should get her away from the kids for a while.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Maybe Wanda, like, she's, I don't know. It's just because I know of the stuff, like some of the problems Wanda has in the comics, I'm uneasy when she's solo momming the kids. I'm like, maybe.
I was really glad we left it running because there's never been a post-credit scene before. So I might have missed it had we not. But...
Snooper's gonna snoop.
Yep.
All right. So what are you gonna say?
She-Hulk. Red She-Hulk Volume 1, Hell Hath No Fury is my only Marvel this week. This takes over the numbering from the Red Hulk run. It's fine. It's just Betty, like, the government is trying to make other Hulks, and Betty's trying to stop them. And so it also sort of pits her against the Avengers. There's 2 volumes of this. There's, like, 5 more issues of this run, and then I'll be done. It's fine. I don't really have much to say about it. It's fine. I'm gonna finish it up.
So this didn't do it for you, huh?
No, not really. No.
No. I did see that. I'm like, he said he was going to read it, and here it is.
Yep.
Yeah, the Red She-Hulk is not... I mean, I don't care much about Red Hulk either, Rulk.
Yeah.
But when, like, Red She-Hulk shows up, and it's just like Betty, I'm like, all right, everybody's a Hulk now.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
It feels like the CW.
This ends with Jen Walters showing up, which was kind of fun. Like, I'm interested to see that, but...
Yeah, but like doing this, it feels just like how the CW does things, where it's like, oh, well, we can't have this character just work at Java. They're a nuclear physicist, and they can now help Team Flash, and they're always at Team Flash. Remember when Iris was a blogger in the season 1, and now she's team leader in season 4?
Yeah.
For me, it's just... I just see, and it's the same thing. It's like, oh, remember when General Ross was also just like a general? No, he's a Hulk. Yeah. Remember when Betty was also a scientist and his girlfriend? No, now she's a Hulk. Remember when Jones was a Hulk? Now he's A-Bomb. You know, it's just after a while, it's like, what's the point of a supporting cast?
Yeah, I agree.
Last thing I read was Once and Future Volume 2 by Karen Gillen. Again, the art is...
It's been a while since you read Volume 1 of that, wasn't it?
Yeah, Volume 2 only just came out. This is one now that I'm reading as it's happening.
Oh, look at you.
Or at least my library just got it. It might have came out in December, but my library got a copy of it. The big sell point for me is Dan Mora's art. It's just kind of...
Okay.
Like, the swords are big and chunky. The arts are kind of, like... big and cartoony with like a lot of facial detail. The coloring is really good. Beowulf shows up and he's completely on fire and starts tearing through things. And then Grendel shows up in an old folks home, and you get all these characters. I don't know. The grandmother is there. Bridget, his grandmother, who's like full out for blood and everything. So. It's fun. It's fun in a way that I did not find Wicked and Divine fun. So, Karen, this one is much more my jam. So, only Volume 2. I don't know how long he's planning the series to go, but I'm good. I'm gonna hang out with this one for a while.
Okay. Yeah. So the individual issues are continuing to come out, and you're just kind of waiting for trades at this point?
Yeah, I actually could have like picked up, like my Hoopla has the single issues. But I just waited for the trade.
Okay.
Yeah, Dan Mora worked on Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Klaus for other art. So nothing I've read because I don't care about Buffy and I don't know what Klaus is.
Okay.
So
same.
Looking like it might be hard to care about Buffy these days.
I agree. All right, should we roll into some quarter bin?
Yeah, though now I want to know what Klaus is. Oh, Grant Morrison. What?
Where he's like Santa Claus guy?
Klaus is Santa Claus Year 1.
Yes, okay, yeah, I do know that. I haven't read it, but I do know that.
All right, well, Klaus is now on my list.
Hey, this is neither here nor there, but I binged the first seasons of Kim's Convenience on Netflix, and I loved it. It was so good. There's like 4 seasons out now.
Oh my gosh.
I'm really liking it. And the guy who plays the older brother in that is the one who was cast as Shang-Chi in the upcoming movie.
Oh.
So,
wow.
It's kind of cool.
What a tie-in.
All right.
I didn't think you could wrap it up like that, but you did.
Yeah.
Look at that. Shang-Chi.
Boy, I've got a weird one for you today, my friend. Were you able to find this anywhere? It's My quarter bin today is an advertising supplement to the Denver Post. Spider-Man, Firestar, and Iceman. Danger in Denver. So this is compliments of May D&F, which was a department store, a Colorado department store.
Okay.
I honestly don't know where I got this one.
Yeah, I was about to say, you weren't near.
It must be. No, because my dad was transferred to Greeley, Colorado, which is near Denver, for about a year when I was a kid. And I did go out there some, and maybe I picked it up at some, whatever, comic book store or garage sale or something while I was in Colorado. I don't know. But this really is an ad for this department store, but it's using, Spider-Man and his amazing friends. So I have it and I reread it. It's funny because just about every other page has one of the heroes doing like an ad for, Dockers or like Oshkosh Badash or something.
Yeah. Make sure to get your Thanksgiving photos here.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Look, here they are. Spider-Man's doing a commercial for Rubik's Cubes here on the back. Anyway,
when was this printed?
1983.
Yeah, I guess I always thought Spider-Man, Firestar, and Iceman, like the Amazing Friends, was a little like mid to late 80s, but it's not, is it?
No, because the show that came before it, which was just Spider-Man, I think that was maybe even like 79 or something. So it's right in that zone. But let's do it. This is set in the department store is called May, Daniels, and Fisher, but it was shortened to May D&F. And that's who put this out, and it's primarily an ad for that. It's like 50-50. 50-50 them modeling clothes, 50-50 a legit story. So we start with a mysterious figure reading the Denver Post. He's reading about how the president is going to visit NORAD, and we don't know who it is yet. So we have the Spider Friends. They're on vacation in Denver, and Peter wants to do some spelunking, and so Firestar wants to stop and get some clothes. They get some gear at the local department store, May D&F. So they make their way to the cave once they have their gear, and who's in there but the Abomination, speaking of Hulk, supporting cast. So the Abomination causes a cave-in while they're spelunking, and they get separated. He's down there because there's like an access hatch that will get him into the NORAD base where the president's going. So he makes his way up to the command center, and he's waiting for the president to arrive. Somehow this is going to lead for total world domination is his plan here. It's not very clear, but what do you expect from an ad for a Denver-based department store? Yeah. Anyway, Spider-Man makes his way up the tube, but Firestar and Iceman are still somewhere in the cave-in and the caves below. So they start mixing it up, and Firestar and Iceman do eventually come, but they're not really successfully fighting off Abomination here. And so they decide, Spider-Man's like, oh, I know. What if we just like piss him off? And they're like, oh, cool, okay. So that's what they try to do.
Right.
And he like, you never. And so he chases after them, and he gets them to leave. Iceman makes an ice slide. He slides down the bottom, and then they freeze the Abomination in a giant block of ice. And then they just leave him in the middle of the road, so the military and the president
can ship him out.
People can take him away. So that's what they do. So they go back to the cave to do their spelunking, but they get lost, and a park ranger rescues them. So they go and they do some barbecuing, and the president's entourage leaves NORAD. It's clearly Reagan, by the way. You don't see his face, and they don't say it, but it's Reagan hair. Trust me. Mm-hmm. They come across the Abomination in the middle of the road in a giant block of ice, and military truck comes and take him away. And the Spider Friends just enjoy their cookout, watching all of this happen, and the president drives away with Abomination on a military truck, and they continue their Denver-based vacation. The end.
That's it?
Yeah, did you like it?
Sure.
I mean, it's 50% ads. What do you expect? Yeah. It can't be long.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this was cool to me as a kid because there's not really a Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends comic book. Like, they didn't really do that. So, but look how good you can look. Do you see this?
Yeah, that looks bad. That looks bad.
You think it looks bad?
Yeah, that's bad.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, this is a curio of a bygone era. It's just an ad for a Colorado department store. So I hope you enjoyed it. Did you? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, man, good. I don't think I had any. No, I think my mom got one time grocery store that had Spider-Man in it. I don't remember what it was selling, but I think we did have one. Like,
cool.
kind of thing like that. But it was like a 90s one,
like it.
So I can't even imagine what they were selling at that point.
No, who knows?
Bradley's.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
well, that's it for me, my man. What do you? You know what? I think next week I'm gonna go. Feel free to do this as well if you're interested. I'm gonna read a little Superman and pick a Superman quarter bin to talk about since Superman and Lois is premiering.
Oh, fun.
You got anything on the docket?
Yeah, I'm gonna read Klaus.
Okay.
By Grant Morrison and Dan Mora. I just borrowed it on Hoopla.
Oh, look at that! While this was happening.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's cool.
I'm gonna read Klaus, and just a bunch of different other stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you. Oh, I need a stretch. Sorry.
You got a little Travolta there for a minute.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm reading next, but
okay, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, I'm probably going to read a little bit more Aquaman and Flash. I was going to try to finish up read March Volume 3. And over on the other podcast that I host for the David A. Howe Public Library, How's Things, we're doing a spotlight on Patricia Briggs. So I'm going to read some of the Mercy Thompson graphic novels to get myself well-versed in that. So we'll be talking about that.
Arrow-versed. Anyway.
All right.
Well, that was it. Bye,
everybody.
Shop at DW?
May DNF.
Shop at May DNF.
Spider-Man related needs.
Yeah.
So long.